All right, let's just get right into it. If you're a student, you know the deal. You know the pressure. It feels like this really simple, almost obvious equation. More hours studying equals better grades. So what do? We sacrifice sleep, we skip meals, we push ourselves right to the edge, all for that academic win. But what if that whole approach is just wrong?
Seriously, think about it for a second. You know that feeling? It's 2 a.m., you're running on caffeine fumes, and you're staring at a page you've read 3 times but nothing's sticking. You've got that constant low-grade hum of stress in the background. Is that really you performing at your best, or is it just you being exhausted and calling it hard work?
And this leads us to a huge, pervasive myth in the academic world. It's this idea that taking time for yourself, self-care, is some kind of luxury, that it's a distraction from the real work of studying. And look, it's a common belief, and it feels kind of logical on the surface, but we're about to break down exactly why it's holding so many of us back.
This right here, this is the trap. It's the one so many of us fall right into. You neglect self-care, and yeah, sure, in the moment you get a few extra hours to cram. You sacrifice a night of sleep to get that assignment done. But the long-term price? It's steep. We're talking more stress, your memory gets worse, and eventually, you just burn out. It's a vicious cycle where the very thing you're doing to get ahead is actually what's dragging you down.
Okay, but this is where it gets really interesting, because what if the secret to better grades, to real peak performance, isn't about grinding out more hours, but about making the hours you do have better? What if self-care isn't the enemy of studying, but actually its most powerful ally? Just let that one sink in for a minute. This idea completely flips the script. It's not about choosing between your well-being and your success anymore. What this is really saying is that your well-being is the foundation you build your success on. Let's dig into why that's true.
First up, let's talk about the science, because this isn't just some vague feel-good idea. We're talking about giving your brain a genuine biological leg up. The link between your mind, your body, and how well you perform in school is incredibly direct.
So when you do something that counts as self-care, like going for a run or even just a quick walk, your brain releases these chemicals called endorphins. Think of them like your brain's own built-in, stress-busting, focus-boosting power-up. They're not just making you feel happier. They are actively making the biological environment in your brain better for learning.
And look at the difference here. It's night and day. On one hand, you have the stressed brain. It's flooded with cortisol, which leads to that mental fog and makes it hard to remember things. On the other hand, you have a cared-for brain. It's getting that endorphin boost, which leads to mental clarity and, this is the important part, way better memory consolidation. So which brain would you rather bring to a final exam? It's kind of a no-brainer, right? Okay, so we know the biology checks out. Now let's connect the dots and see how this actually creates a real performance boost. How does taking a break somehow lead to better grades and less procrastination? Let's break it down.
This is really the central idea right here. We tend to treat our brain like it's a computer, like it's separate from our body and we can just run it 24/7 without any issues. But it's not. It's all one interconnected system. You can't possibly optimize your mind for studying if you're neglecting the very system that keeps it running.
And here's what that support actually looks like in practice. It's not rocket science. It's about fueling your body right. It's about moving to get that blood flowing to your brain. It's about taking smart breaks before you're exhausted to keep your focus sharp. And, crucially, it's about getting quality sleep. That's literally when your brain does the heavy lifting of sorting and storing everything you learn during the day.
And the payoff for all this isn't just some vague, I feel better kind of thing. No, we are talking about direct, measurable academic gains, enhanced focus and concentration, sharper memory, a better ability to tackle complex problems. And when you have the mental energy, you procrastinate less and your time management just naturally gets better. It all clicks.
But here's the best part really. The return on this investment, the ROI, it goes way beyond just your report card. The real goal isn't just to survive your school years, it's to build the foundation for a life that's actually successful and fulfilling.
Remember that vicious cycle of burnout we talked about at the beginning? Well, this is the beautiful opposite. This is the virtuous cycle of well-being. When you choose to prioritize self-care, you don't just reduce your stress today, you build up your resilience for tomorrow.
Taking a real break doesn't just restore your focus for the next hour, it teaches you how to regulate your emotions for life. This is the secret to building high performance that actually lasts.
I mean, just look at this list. These are not study hacks. These are fundamental life skills. Learning how to actually manage stress, handle your emotions, build real resilience. These are the things that are going to serve you in your career, in your relationships, and just for your own happiness, long after you've forgotten what was on that one final exam.
This is really how we should be looking at the big picture. Academic success, yeah, it's a huge piece of the pie, absolutely. But it's just one slice. The real goal is overall well-being, which includes your mental health, your resilience, and a sense of fulfillment. And you know what's so cool? When you take care of the whole pie, that academic slice, it actually gets bigger and better.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. We have to completely reframe how we think about this. Self-care does not take time away from your studies. It is an investment that makes the time you do spend studying more effective. It's the difference between staring at a book for 4 hours with a foggy, tired brain versus truly learning and retaining that exact same info in half the time with a mind that is sharp and clear.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. As you're planning out your day, what if the smartest, most strategic move you could make for your grades isn't to cram for another hour? What if it's to go for a walk, or to get a good night's sleep, or to just take a real break? What if taking care of yourself is the ultimate study strategy?